Welcome to the channel, guys. We're going to talk about the new teaser for The Mandalorian and Grogu. Alright guys, let's discuss. So of course I have the Mandalorian helmet. This is specifically the Black Series helmet that they put out. It's very cool. I don't know what this is really. It's just a piece that came with it, so it's there, and I don't really know how to take it off without breaking it, so I just sort of ignore it. But anyway, so we have a new trailer out now for The Mandalorian. So let's sort of recap where we left off with The Mandalorian. So we've sort of seen these characters go through a lot of changes over the course of 3 seasons. Season 1 was all about sort of introducing the characters in the world of The Mandalorian and who, Grogu is. In Season 1, we didn't even have his name yet. And of course, we got to see that badass sort of bounty hunter lifestyle of The Mandalorian, of Din Djarin. So that was basically Season 1, where we sort of get this ending where there's more to the world of The Mandalorian, with the tease of the Darksaber and upcoming cameos, and all of that was being leaked and announced following up to Season 2. So Season 2 was a lot more cameo-based, I feel. It felt like there was a lot more side stories in Season 2 than Season 1. Overall, I did think Season 2 was pretty cool. It had a pretty neat finale. So overall, I did enjoy it a lot. The only thing that was a little weird is going from Season 2 to Season 3 is if you didn't watch the last couple of episodes of the Book of Boba Fett, you would just be completely lost picking up with Season 3. So in the Season 2 finale, Grogu goes off with Luke Skywalker to train. And then Season 3 picks up, Grogu's just back. So he's back because it's explained in the Book of Boba Fett. So on one hand, it is cool that the other shows, you're sort of rewarded for watching the others. At the same time, it feels weird that this big moment, the Grogu and the Mandalorian reunite, this whole big moment was in a show that wasn't even their own. So that was a little off-putting. It was just a little strange that they chose a separate show to show that. So anyway, Season 3, we sort of see Bo-Katan take on the leadership of ruling Mandalore. And by the time we get to the finale, Mandalore they have their freedom from the Empire. Bo-Katan is leading. Din Djarin is back as a bounty hunter, basically. And Grogu's with him as his foundling. He's basically going to train to be a Mandalorian, pretty much, is the gist we get from the finale. And so that's sort of where we're left with these characters. So the general synopsis is going after Imperial remnants. That's basically the synopsis for the series anyway. So it's a very generic synopsis for the movie, but we will see more Imperials. We see AT-ATs in the trailer. We see Stormtroopers, and there's just a lot of neat little pieces it shows. This trailer didn't really reveal anything about the plot, the villain, or what the main story will really be. It just sort of teased some little pieces and references, enough to grab our attention and start gaining some hype for this film. But I think I'll get a lot more hype when we do see a little bit more about what the plot is really about. So I am excited to see that. I know there's going to be multiple trailers between now and the film's release. I'm just waiting for that. So as far as this trailer is concerned, there are some pretty neat key moments in the trailer that indicate the return of some characters and some ships. So most notably, there is a Razor Crest. Now I'm assuming this is going to be a new one that he sort of custom made. We see like yellow streaks on the Razor Crest, which reminds me of his N1 fighter. The ones from Naboo were of course yellow. So it makes me wonder if maybe he's molded a Naboo starfighter and a Razor Crest to sort of make it faster, more maneuverable. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. We know that his Razor Crest he had before was completely blown up and obliterated. But then again, the Death Star was blown up in Return of the Jedi, and like 2/3 of the Death Star was just sitting there in Episode 9. So this is Disney Star Wars. So it is very possible that the Razor Crest didn't blow up at all. We just think that it did. And most of it is still very much intact and easy to put back together. And it's the same Razor Crest he's always had. I hope not, but it wouldn't surprise me. Our next thing that I thought was actually pretty interesting is for just a clip, just 1 second of the trailer, I believe. It shows Mando and Grogu jetpacking toward a U-Wing, which we know from Rogue One, and Andor, of course. The Ewing has shown up in a couple other projects as well, but this is a lot of there's a lot of speculation that an Andor character could show up. So if you think about it, if you watch the finale of Andor, or watch Andor as a whole, the characters that survived the show, it makes total sense that they would want to be a part of taking down Imperial remnants, especially after the Empire's destruction. So I don't want to spoil Andor finale for you guys if you haven't seen it, but the surviving characters have plenty of motive to help out Mando if he's going after Imperial targets. So it may not be a returning Andor character. It could be a Rebels character that just happens to have a Ewing. There is rumors that the new season of Ahsoka is going to have Agent Callus as part of the series. So since he was on Yavin, he could have a Ewing. This could be a Rebels cameo. I don't know, but it is cool to see Ewing nonetheless. Just as a design, as it is, it's a cool ship. It looks cool, sounds cool. It's a transport, basically. So I'm excited to see it. And then speaking of Rebels characters, we do get a small clip of Zeb fighting what looks like to be stormtroopers. So I'm looking forward to Zeb coming back. I watched Rebels as a teenager, thought it was okay. Watched it again as an adult, and it was still okay. I still am a big fan of Clone Wars just because the show had its darker moments. Rebels never really had very dark moments, but overall the story was pretty interesting, and Zeb was one of the characters that I liked more than some of the others. And so seeing him come back, I think, will be kind of cool. It'll be interesting to see the transfer from animation to live action. How does it look? Does he feel like Zeb? Is he going to fight the same way? I'm excited to see him come back. We'll see how it turns out. He's already been in a cameo in The Mandalorian, so we've already seen him live action, but barely. So I feel like he's going to have a little bit more of a role in this movie than, of course, in the previous episode he was barely in. And then another Clone Wars reference that is an interesting reference, Rada the Hutt. So if you're a Clone Wars fan, if you watch the movie, which I believe came out in 2008, in the movie, Jabba the Hutt had a son, and after this movie, he was kidnapped by the Separatists. The Republic got him back. Anakin Skywalker and his Padawan, they brought Rada back to Jabba, and he was barely seen in like a scene or two throughout the entirety of the Clone Wars series. He's basically forgotten. So now in this timeline of The Mandalorian taking place however many years it takes place after Return of the Jedi, he was an adult Hutt, and all we know is he's in the movie. The picture that leaked a couple months ago, I believe, that is the only still from the trailer that we see of him. So, who knows what they're going to do with him. I think it was one of the Star Wars comics from the Disney era of Star Wars, where there was this super incredibly buff Hutt that had sort of these robot legs that helped him move around, and he had lightsabers, I think, or he was fighting people that use lightsabers. They got creative to have some agile Hutt fighting. So I don't know if they're going to take those kinds of ideas with Rada, or if he's just there in this arena he's seen in. It could be like his arena. He owns it. So, I have no idea what kind of role he's going to play. All we know is an actor from that series, The Bear, I believe it was called. He's playing Rada, so that basically means he's doing the motion capture, I guess, for probably facial expressions and his voice at least. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of role he plays. And then the other notable part of the trailer is the AT-ATs. Now, I can't find a definitive source to cite, but I do believe I remember a couple months ago, there was an announcement that for this movie, it was one of the most expensive props for a movie, I believe, in history, or at the very least, it is the most expensive Star Wars prop. There is rumors, which I'm very much looking forward to the behind the scenes, if this is true, but there is rumors that there was a life-size prop of an AT-AT made for this movie. There's scenes of, I think it was Dave Filoni sitting in the cockpit of an AT-AT, and it looks like a big, set piece. I mean, if it's a set, not a prop, it looks amazing. So, irregardless, it proves that they're spending a lot of money on this show or on this movie because they've put in so much money for the show. And so I hope they don't use too much of their budget on the props and the visuals of the movie. I hope it can go toward really great actors, which seems like they have a good cast so far, to basically build this movie up more than just a visual spectacular. I really hope they can go back to some really interesting and intense and entertaining storytelling, like Star Wars has had projects before. Bad Batch became that way eventually. Andor kept that consistency. Rogue One was always great. So Star Wars has had some projects that are really, really good. I hope this movie's going to be one of them. Because of season 3 of The Mandalorian, it seemed like there were so many storylines they were giving The Mandalorian that these key storylines were sort of just passed on to another character. So it just felt like Din Djarin himself didn't get a lot of character development in season 3 really at all. So I'm hoping they can go back to that and see him grow as a character and his relationship with Grogu. Hopefully Grogu is training a little more. We see him using the Force a little bit in the trailer, so hopefully he's growing more and more with his powers, getting more training somehow from someone, some way. It'll be just cool to see them again because it's been a couple of years, I would think, since we've seen them on the big screen or on our screens. So these are lovable characters. I mean, there's a reason The Mandalorian is such a popular show and slash character, is because of the success they've had. So regardless of the lackluster storylines in season 3, I do think they have a good thing going with these characters, and I hope they can continue that quality into the movie. Let's hope it's really great, guys. I think it should be. I think the next couple trailers will give us more of an indication whether or not they're going back to their same old rinse and repeat routine, or if they're going to do something fresh and new with it. So I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for watching, guys. Let's see where these characters go from here.